はい。お願いします。
お願いします。
Good. Okay, just start a little bit more loosening. A little bit with the arms as well, going up and down. Okay, working front and back. And same thing, just work the arms as well. Okay, side to side. Into rotations. And working with the wave in that spine. Good. And then just play freely with them all. Just play with the directions left, right, up, down, just loosen everything. And just start to include the hands really in the movement. So a little bit of structure through the hands. Just trying, in this case, really keep the shoulders nice and free. So whatever you do, try not to lift into the structure of the shoulder. Keep the shoulders nice and free, open. Everything is nice and fluid. Good. Okay, good. Yeah, just play with a few things. You can play now with like the hips and the shoulders. So like really play with kind of structure coming around and also coming away from itself. So if you think about these kind of movements, we would take in a technique and just play with the structure kind of coming a little bit away from itself. A little bit away. And the key with this is try and feel like you're absorbing it down into the ground. So even though the structure is getting pulled out or you're pulling your structure away from itself, just get a feeling that you can it stays quite heavy. Yeah. And Also play to the back as well. Nice and slow. There we go. Yeah, and then just start to play a little bit with the limbs. So as if you're kind of drawing them out. You can think about, I think about two techniques, Shihonage and Ikkyo. So you've got these kind of two arcs, this way and this way through the body. Just think about those kind of rolling through the body. Rolling through the body. Rolling through. That's it. Yeah. That's it. And then just sticking with Ikkyo, you're going to feel, what I want you to feel is like you roll into the Ikkyo here, and then from this side it goes back to you. So you take it back. So it goes here, and then you roll up underneath it, press it in, keep the same foot forward, just roll through it. Yes, and then every so often just change the side. You've got coming on, rolling on this way. Coming on, rolling on this way. You're going to feel all the time the hips are engaged in the movement. Hips in. Hips in. Hips in. And when you go in a kind of basic way, you can feel like you can just start to make it a little bit more fluid, a little bit more flexible. And once you've got it fluid, you start to feel that you can kind of contain it a little bit. It's a little bit tighter. And just play with it a little bit. That's it. Very nice. Okay, good. There we go. Good. Okay, good. We'll just a little bit work with tiny henko. So just coming into kamae here, sinking in, and coming back in the side. So just start from this position, nice strong extension into the hand, find the circle, and then enter it with the other side. Just could give it a try. Just working with tiny henko. Yep. Okay, and then just add one step into it. So you're going to go into the Tanhenko here, roll back, and then here into this position. Release the hands down and then straight into the other side. So it's a little bit more fluid, Roll into the back here. Contain the hands again, and then roll in, roll back. Release, roll in, roll back. Release. So this is 3 movements. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. That's nice. Okay. Just watch it. Try and see that last move as the third movement, because otherwise, what happens in the training is like this. I do 1, 2, 3. So I do so. I like drop everything when you go, but really see that's actually part of the movement. So it's also the same here from this position. The extension out is part of the movement. So you've got this 1, 2, 3. Everything really stays on. Think like you've got the sword all the time. It's not even if you kind of put it back into even if you were to go back into this position, it would still be kind of full. But try and avoid kind of get into the fit and then boom, kind of just releasing everything. So really feel that movement is, and it's actually it's a position to get right into movement. So think that you're training also the concentration at this point as well. We're training your attention. Back, in. In, back, and I don't want to attach my attention totally to a form, so that my attention's attached here, and then boom, it's gone. That's the point in the martial arts where you're going to get hit, or you're going to get taken by surprise. So just feel that you're constantly switched on. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Great. There we go, nice. Great, and then we're just going to Morotodori. So finding the extension, coming in, goes 1, and then raising up, rolling to the back. And then when you're in this position, just spring this way. So you come into this position, and then you're ready to go into it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. Can this get just, it's like we did yesterday as well, just really emphasize the hip work in it. So it's less about the arms, like in these kind of positions, and much more about the hip work. So get the feeling that there's basically 3 movements in this case. The hips sinking in here, and then the hips rotating to the back this way. But it's a full rotation, so you do this, and then this. And then from here, think that the whole hip carriage is going to roll through the movement. And the same here as you release it, hips. So just think about the hips going really through a full motion here. This. So allow the hips to really lead the arms. Otherwise, the arms start to take over. And I'm basically just doing it in the upper body. So really feel that the hips really behind all those movements. Hips underneath, basically. And your weights underneath the arms. That's it. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. Ah. Okay, just watch your elbows when you do this. this. If you think this is coming from sword work, what you don't do in sword work is something like that. So you never really do that movement in sword work, unless it's a really extreme example. So in this case, just avoid this, coming into these kind of movements, and then this kind of movement coming here. This is really putting the elbow into a tricky position. It's okay if you're going to elbow this person this way, coming in this way, but still the elbow's not going to take the shoulder out as you come up. So prioritize in this case this area of the arm. So it's much more in this area. So the spiral is going to come here. The spiral is going to come from that part, but it's not going to come from that part. So that means that the elbow is going to constantly sink down, sink down, sink down. And even when you go to this position, it's not a pop-up of the elbow. It's a hips underneath, arms, arms. So really feel that. Yeah. So it's nice and fluid in this part of the arm, but not in that part of the arm. Try, give it a try. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, just notice again, the first, again, this is based in sword work. If you think about any movement I need to make forward or backwards or in any direction, it needs to be based in the ground. Because if it's not, I'm going to just kind of fall into it. So true in case of the Morotodori. If my first impulse is with the arm and go and kia, I basically clash with the person. So I basically do something like that, and then I fall into the technique. Right, so what you want to feel is in this position, the ground's underneath, and my first impulse is down. And that's also true with the hands. So the hands don't first go in, they go up, up, and then you take it over. So this is part of the leading process, because what you've done is you've taken the center, led the person out of it, and then what you want to do, rather than just go back into them, is this. And you're only going to achieve that by raising, and then dropping it in. Okay, so just with that, it's quite a small movement, so it's not a big that, but it's a movement that's really based on the ground. So there's a wheel that goes underneath it, and it really depends on like front foot here, this. As you go in, you're gonna try. It's quite subtle. It's just feeling where that impulse comes from. That's it. Yeah. Good. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Very nice. Nice. Great. Can I get the last part of it? So think that always the hips and the hands are going to work together. So just watch now for doing something like this. I get the hips in, and then the arms just go into it. So the arms just kind of curl over it. Really feel that what you're doing is pressing the person down. So you're coming up, over, and then I want the hips to press, press, press. So feel that this movement is something, again, it's in the hip. So it's not in the arm. Like this, it's the hip moving in. And again, you can make this really exaggerated. Come into this position, or you can make it very subtle. But anyway, the hands are gonna follow the hip work. It's the same again with the sword work. So you engage the hip into it. You just play with it a little bit. And feel free to totally break the form up as well. So this kind of feel, this, 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 this. Really play with it. There we go. Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it. And just think again, you're trying to transmit the whole weight of the body through the arm, through the contact point. That means a kind of heaviness in the whole body. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah. One. Nice. Good. Okay, we'll do one more before we go into weapons. So you're going to go into Tenshinai now. So both hands out together. You're going to slide out to one side and drop the hand. Drop the hand in. So this is heaven, called heaven and earth. So the earth hand is coming down to the ground. And the first movement is everything goes off to the side. So this, really sinking in. Now from this position, this hand's going to raise up. And then you step in and you join the two hands basically together in the down. So you've got three, well, you've got 2 or 3 movements, depending how you break it down. You've got 1, 2, 3 coming in. Give it a try. Let's see. You're going to kind of split the hands. Yeah. Yeah, they're good to you. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the thing here is you're gonna kind of split the hands so that we're in this initial position, and then you're splitting the hands and you're inserting the body into it. So you've got the feeling is really like the hips split the hands apart. So it's like this. So really just also play with this part of the technique. This is the most important part of it because everything follows from my ability to be able to split in the body. So just get the sense that this whole carriage of the body splits in, and it's got to come from here. You can get away with it obviously in the solo work, just doing that. But even if you do that with the arm, you will notice the body gets pulled out. So really feel it. If my priority is really on balance, that it needs to be here. That needs to be that. So just let the whole body kind of shift in. And it's got like a splitting, kind of cutting quality with the hips. Yeah, that's it, mate. Good. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Great. This is a really nice way to do the technique. If you can imagine this, as you go in with the top hand, what you're going to do is press it onto the body. So you've got the feeling like the whole blade of the forearm does this into the body. So it basically controls the body this way. So this is like a trap. So in the basic technique, you can do it this way. You can slide in and basically trap the person here. So I've pulled the person out of structure, this, and I've got a slight impact on the body. So they're basically stuck in the feet. So I've got them in this position, so they can't move from it. And then I just increase the movement over. So I send the hips to the back. So imagine this first movement is like here. And then as you go in, what you're doing is, again, the hips roll through it. And at the same time as the hips go in, the arms spiraling up over the back. So just get this sense again. It's based in the hip work. That, and then feel that motion is going to be released from the hip. That. And then the feeling is really pressing down through the ground. Nice big hockey work. That's it, that's it, that's it. There we go, nice. Okay. Okay, just notice one connection which is in the ground. So as you go here, the base of the movement is going this foot, so in the front foot, so you stepped in. Now the amount that I can ground here is the amount that I can raise this arm up. Because the moment I do this out of the foot, I'm basically out of structure. And if I go in with a really weak structure, you're gonna basically just pull the person back onto balance. So have the sense in this that you sink into this foot, and then you raise up out of the ground with this hand. This, this, this. And then as you go in, that movement's really gonna be grounded. So just feel this first movement with this hand is really to ground this side of the body in. And then from here, raise up out of it. Raise up out of the ground. And it's got really like a flexible quality. Even in the 𝒂𝒂𝒿. So even in the 𝒂𝒂𝒿, it doesn't have a kind of gung. It's got a really flexible structure. And coming into it. There we go. Just notice the ground underneath as you do it. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Okay, well, just this one to finish. So you just, the back hand's going to be open, and the front hand just kind of tuck it away, so you can put it in the belt or you can put it on the back. So in this case, you just feel that you slide in, roll through. So you're just prioritizing the back hand in this case. The key in this is knowing where the movement's going to come from. So keep the feeling in the body centralized. Yeah, and as you roll in, this, but just focusing on that back hand. So it needs a really clear anchor in the body. So in this case, the anchor is the front foot here as you come through. And just, again, just really working on balance through the structure. This. So in no way kind of trying to throw the structure out of the body. Just get this idea of rolling into it. So again, just play with the movement a little bit. Wait, it's a bit out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like the Dojo. Yeah. That's it. Nice, Thomas. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, it's Moritadori is a nice technique because it's a nice blueprint for how we work techniques. So you've got a moment of like leading out into a spiral, and you've got to raise up underneath, and then coiling in with the hip. So we basically do that same kind of pattern almost all the time in all these techniques. So think that as you do this movement, that same kind of feeling's happening. So rolling through it, and then from the ground, from the ground, from the ground, and then rolling into a spiral with the hip. So we use this. It's like the same pattern. In Morotodori, you're doing it from this backside, and in Tenchinai, you're doing it from the backside going forward this way. I just feel that spiral comes there, there, there. So you got to slide it, roll out, slide it, roll out. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Good. Very nice. Very nice. Wow. Okay, and then just imagine we're going to do it standing. You could do this seated as well, but if you imagine 𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 square on with the person. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to drop the body down, find the spiral, coil the hip in, and then just sink it in. So it's like a very contained technique. Again, these kind of patterns, these 3 simple moves we do, Tainan Henko, Morotodori, 𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂, they're really the blueprint for the whole form, for the whole system. So just feel you get to this position, sinking the hip, coiling the body up, and then tipping it over, pressing it in. So just a nice contained form. Quite subtle. There, there. And again, just really looking for the balance in the body. I don't want to be coming into these kind of positions, stretching the body out. So it's also nice to do in a square posture. Rooting up, hips underneath, and then coiling it through. So there. There we go. That's it, that's it, that's it. Yeah, good. Just so I want to say, this is actually, it's not quite natural because we tend to override it, but just get a sense that if you're here, in order to raise the hands, the hips sink down. So I need to basically ground the hips. So if you drain all the feeling from your arms, you just go here. If you raise the arms up, if you raise your arms up, you will feel the body naturally sink, hopefully. If I don't feel that, I'm basically holding the body in tension. So I'm holding the hips together, or I'm pulling everything up, and then I feel tension all around the front of the body here in this kind of position. But really feel that the body's weighted in the back. This is why all these standing practices are quite good for us in terms of balancing the body and getting the body to naturally fall into the back and then sink in. Sink in. Oh wait, that's loud. There. Sink. There. There. There we go, there we go, there we go. Yeah, so the pattern tends to be this. We do the same in Morotodori as well. So the pattern is usually like that, and then engage the body, and then engage the hip. But really feel that first motion is then engage from the hip, 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 hip. So just feel that very first from the very first millimeter, hip. Hips are engaging, so the core's engaged behind it. Core is engaged, then you can use it. Then you can find it out. Really feel it the whole time. Hips engage, hips engage, hips engage. And also just play with this motion here. It's like the sword. If I've got the sword in the body, then the hips will really just start to take over. Go. And it's very, very subtle. nice and contained. But because it's so small, such a small movement, it's nice to train it. You really get the hips behind everything. That's it. Yeah. We'll do one more just to finish. So this is one of the variations, and this is where you've got the person on the elbow. So they've got the elbow and they're pressing it into the body. So you're basically in this kind of position. You've got that. So you've got to imagine someone pressing you into the elbow. So the first thing I got to do in this case is really let the person have the grip. So I go into it with the body this way. Again, it's a change in the hip, this. And then from here, what I do is shoot the arms out. You go into this position. And then from here, I basically just follow the basic, cut it down. So you've got the arms pinned to the body. You do this in 3 steps. You do 1, and then here from this position, from the center, the arms come out strong, and then you roll it down. Sometimes it's called the banzai, kokyuho variation. So you go like this, and then like this, banzai, this way, and then it goes into it this way. So it's got a kind of explosive move right to the top. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is a tricky one because what's this? I get, even when I do this in solo, so if I get here and then I do something like this, I'm actually stuck. I'm stuck in the front of the body. So what you've got to feel as you go down, you get pinned. So I'm right in the back of the body. So the body's really going to hinge now from the hip. And then from here, the hands they're going to shoot out from the hip. And it's a really powerful movement, this. But if I do that, I'm going to get trapped into the front. So just feel you kind of, it's really an explosion from the ground and from the back of the body. Yeah, that's it. Boom. This is one technique. I love this technique because you can't do it half-heartedly. You've got to do it fully, because if you don't do it fully, it won't work. So in this case, I can't get away with like, it won't go. So I've got to do like, in, and then goes in this way. So you have to really do it kind of full, and it can be slow and it can be kind of I think, but the energetic is like really this, and it's actually a nice one to do really slow as well. You can't do it slow in partner work because the person can just kind of change the resistance on the body, but you can do it slow partner work. You're going to hinge the body. There we go. Good. Yeah, there we go. There we go. This is a tricky one. So this is one case where the elbow is really, really specific. So you're in this position. What I can't do, if I've got this pinned down, what I can't do is raise the elbow up like this. So I can't get this position. So if the hand's doing this, this is basically where I cannot do the basic. So the basic pattern's to do that, right? That. Now in this position, if I do that, it either fails or I just can't lift the elbow up out of it. So what I need to do in this case is sink into it. And then what I do is roll through the joint. Roll through the joint. So I'm doing that, and then the hips underneath this, and then I press the elbow through it. That. So it's doing that. So you've got to imagine like the elbows are hinge between this point and this point. So it's going to do that. And that motion, rather than shrugging the shoulder up here, is going to pull the hips down. And that basically loads the hips up, loads the hips. So the elbows now functioning for the hip rather than the hand. So normally we do the hand work, that, but in this case it's the elbow. That's my leverage point there. And then as soon as I've broken that, then I translate it into the hand work. Goes there. there. Good. And then the last few, just feel it. You can do this a little bit more fluidly. So you roll into the body, roll out, press third. So just kind of, it's less explosive. And just here. This. So let the center really lead it. Oh, that's a bit better. There. There. It's a really nice one to do 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 because the hips are basically grounded from the knees. That's it. Just feel something kind of fluid now. Goes up, goes down. That's it. Yeah. Good job. There we go. Very nice. There. Whoosh. Yeah, good. Okay, this is a structure we actually use quite a lot. So when we go into these 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 positions and you come into, for example, 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂, we use this kind of structure. So it's the same kind of structure, grounded in the hip, drawing the hand out. And it's a very similar structure to what's happening in 𝒖𝒐𝒻. So these structures or these basics from the Kokinage movements or Kokyuho movements, they really teach some really nice body mechanics that I later use to kind of go into technique. So just play a little bit last minute or so. Just play with the structures of the arms. So you've got these kind of kokyu movements. Just work with them and just notice, especially now, what's happening between the elbows and the hips. So just play with it a little bit more fluid if you like. Play with ikkyos. Rotodori, Kokyuho, Iriminage. Just notice what's happening in terms of the balance and the connections between different parts of the body, especially in relation to the center of the body. There you go, very nice. Nice. Good. Okay, great. Take a Gyo. Okay. We'll just start a little bit of basic, just from this position here. So again, get a nice long position, nice lengthen. And then again, just one movement, sink in, find the position, find the ski. So you're here, let the whole body go in, straight into it. Again, it's really powering around the center. There. There. And there's one thing in that, if I'm overly focused on the compression in the back foot, what can happen is something like that. The body goes into this kind of position. And then I kind of rock into the next movement, comes into here. Really feel that compression is direct. And as soon as I compress into the foot, forward. So really feel that compression is just allowing me that motion in, straight in. But just watch that compression doesn't do that. Doesn't like pull me back and split the body up a little bit. So really feel that from this position here, I want the feeling that I can just drop in straight through. Drop in, so the relationship's cleared down, but the action I want is that straight in. So I want the hips to slide in. I don't obviously do that. This is off the ground, so but just get this feeling that very first motion takes the whole structure in. Takes the whole structure in. That's it. That's it. It's like the very first moment with Tenshinai, the hips slide in. The hips slide in. I don't kind of load it up and then go. Just get the feeling of straight in. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah. There we go. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. There we go. Good. Good. Now go. Good. Okay, we're just skipping to number 3. So from here, same feeling, sink in here. Now you're going to coil into the hip, find the back, and then thrust into the back. So nice contained. Do this in 2 moves, so you've really got a chance to find the back. Yeah, and then sink at the hips in. So here, there, very close to the body. It's a little. Yes. Yes. There you go. Okay, just notice it, try to avoid this. So you can do this also like this, 1, 2, 3. But try and get that very first moment, just do it in 2 moves. So don't break it down any further. So what you want to get is 1, 2. Oh, you crossed the head. So you want to get a position where I can just go, 1. And just play also, break the form down again totally. So I just want the feeling that the hips are going to sink and go. Sink and go. Sink and go. But I don't want to reach out first and then find the E4. So just feel from that very first motion, everything's drawn to the center. Everything's drawn to the center. Everything to the center. Everything to the center. Da, da, da. You all know 1, 2, 3. Just play with that very first motion because it's the same thing done in different ways. So this very first motion in number 1, this. The very first motion in number 2, this. And the very first motion in number 3, this. So they've all got this same motion, which is basically containing into the center, and then you're going to explode out. Again, it's like one of the basic things we've got in the system is basically rolling into the center of the body and then pressing it out, or expressing it out is a better way. So just look at those very first moments. Just play with 1, 2, and 3, and just those very first, drawing the center into the body, drawing the Jo into the center, 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 Jo into the center. And that passes all the way through. Yeah, there we go.
Bye.
See ya. Thanks a lot.
See you later. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That's it. Nice, got it. There we go. That's it. Yeah, I don't want, especially on number 3, just really use this as a base. It's a really good base for it. It's really finding the forearm. So I feel like I'm in this kind of position. So again, I want to really feel that you're right in the back of the body. So the back of the body should kind of light up. The same with 1 and 2. The back of the body's kind of lit up through the motion. So I want to feel like the whole structure is nice and strong. And then from this, press it out. If I feel really at any point in this case, the body's spread. So the body's really spread. And then anything I do is going to come from a kind of spread feeling. So I want to feel like contained. Again, it goes back to this 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒄. Contained, I go into it, and then I kind of spread out from it. So just look for that kind of, the key is actually the extension in the arms, what's happening in the arms, because you will either get collapsed structure or you will get a contained structure. Again, we do this stuff all the time, like Shirowaza. There's so many examples of this kind of quality. There we go. That's it. There we go. Nice. Nice. Good. And then just do that, just run through the set. So just 1, 2, 3. If you feel like you've got if you're really comfortable with number 3, just do it as 1 movement. So skip it, be in 2, and just go into 1 total movement. So just roll through this as a set now. So nice, contained, concentrated. Goes here, and number 1, back. Nice and contained. Number 2, back. Number 3. Back. This is a nice set, and keep the concentration really on all the time. Oh. Oh. Whoosh. Good. And then just to finish this little short set just links the movements together. So you start here. This time you start with number 2. So you go here, roll the body back into Kamae, basic thrust, and then thrust to the rear. Take your time at the end, and then just roll back in. So go here now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back. 8. Whoosh. Okay, so you can stay at that level in the kind of basic way, or you can just start to make it a little bit more fluid now, so a little bit more flexible is a better word. So as you go in, you can, what I prefer is go a little bit slow, so take the speed down a little bit and take the power down a little bit. This. Back. So it's a little bit slower. And you're taking all the focus back to the body and back to the footwork. So it's taking a little bit power out of the jaw, which is so I can take much more focus into the footwork. There. Back. So, and nothing changes with the form, so there's no technical difference. You're just going to kind of flexibly move through one to the other. Good. So just feel a fraction, again, prioritizing the footwork, just feel that there's like a fraction before you go with anything with the jaw, with the hand, something hits the ground. So the feeling from here is like this, there's just a fraction before, ground, 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 ground. So everything feel like it's gonna come from the ground, So that, just notice where the impulse comes from. Because again, if the impulse comes from the arms, it will just tilt all the body out if I exaggerate it and if I speed it up. So just notice where the impulse needs to come from to make the movement round and balanced. So feet. Oh, did the wrong one. Yeah. Feet, 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 feet. So just play with it a little bit, and again, break the form down a little bit if you need to. Just notice what's happening in the feet. Whoosh. Last 30 seconds though, just play with any movement anything that you like. Don't think too much about it, but just feel like feet, feet, hands, feet, hands, feet, hands, feet, hands. Go, go. So play with whatever movement you like, just to finish, but just keep it contained within, nice and balanced. Focusing on the connections, hips, feet, and hips to the hands. There we go. Very nice. Okay, we'll stop there. So that kind of structure, again, it's one of those things that's all the way through the system. So once you can identify it in any part of it, you can work it and you can transfer it all across the system. So this is why the weapon work and everything's so useful for us, because it's translated all across the system. So okay, we'll bow out. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Excellent.